SAP administration by monitoring the transaction performance. We are going to use a approach that we will review the impact of the database design and the index optimization on the database response time measured by SQL queries administration tools. Here are the index of contents for this book and this course. First, we are going to see what is the SAP HANA system architecture. We are going to see the difference between the tenants that have unique users, backup, and it is possible to do a cross SQL queries with other tenants. The special system of the database, it is the administration database and cannot be copied to another host, and there is no possibility to do a cross SQL queries with other tenants. Then we are going to review what is the performance basic pulse of the system. We are going to see how to make a CPU, memory, threads, and successful backup logs to see how it is the system working. Then we are going to move to one of the central topics of this book or this course, which is the database design and the impact on performance. First, we are going to review how it is the relational model and the indexes definition and why they are very important for the performance of the SAP HANA good health and a good response for the users. We're going to see if we have to use a columnar or row data and what is the term of their normalization of the database. Then we are going to see one of the central topics of this book, which is the measure the SQL commands performance using the tool SQL Plant Cache, where we are going to see how is the performance of each query and what could be the problem that it could have on the database performance. Then we are going to see how to maintain the table's consistency and how to do an incremental and a periodic backup to avoid this, to prevent this data loss. Finally, we are going to see a basic administration tool like the creation of users and with different roles for each tenant, and also an introduction of the licenses that SAP uses for our systems. Here it is the general system architecture. We have to understand that we have on one single host, we have the system database with the statistics service, okay? And here it is, it occurs all the administration tasks is done in this system database. You can see that we have the system administrator here accessing via the platform router, which routes all the traffic to the system database or maybe to the other tenants of the single host. Okay, here we have several tenants on this host. On this host, we can have several tenants, several database schemas, and here we have different users that are accessing the different index servers or tenants on this host. Every host has the statistics service to see how is the queries and the response to the user's performance, and we have to understand that each of tenant has its own users, the catalog and a backup persistence and traces and logs. What we have to understand about the system database, it is that there is no possibility of doing a cross SQL access between the system and the tenant database, and it cannot be copied or moved to another host. Okay, so once we have this definition of the system database on this host, it is not possible to make to do a migration of this system database to another host. So the basic pools of the system, we are going to see how to do that on the SAP HANA. We are going to see how to do this on the administration, how it is the landscape, and what is the memory use for each of these of the CPU, the memory, and the disk usage. Okay, and we are going to see this on the book, how to do every task of this. Okay, this is the checking the volume of the SAP HANA. Okay, so here we can check how much space do we have for each volume on the database. This is the performance of the SAP use memory, the resident memory. On the performance, we can see the threads, the sessions that are active on the system, and also the tool of the SQL plant cache that we're going to see after. And this is the overview of the system health. Then we are going to review what is the impact of the database design in the HANA processing performance. We have here, we are going to review the relational model of the database that we can choose a columnar or row type table design depending of the use that we are going to do to the database. We can choose, for example, an OLAP, which is mainly for data warehousing, or maybe a live transaction processing, which is a processing that it is occurring occurring every second, because we are receiving the data, for example, from the ERP. Okay, we are going to explore how to do the indexes and how it is the impact of a good design index on the performance of the system. And also we are going to see what is the difference between doing the index or a partition and tables, and also what is the term of denormalization of the database. It is when we have this schema like this normalized database, and to avoid to increase or improve the performance of the queries, probably we want to move from this architecture to a plain database like this. Okay, so we are going to explore how to do that. Also, we are going to do, this is one of the central topics of this book or course, which is the use of the SQL execution with SQL plant cache. This is a tool that comes with SAP HANA. We go to the performance, and here we can explore what is the total execution time for every query that we are executing, and we can use the Excel on pivot tables after exporting all this data to explore what are the queries that are consuming more resources of the database. Also, we can explore this query by query. For example, this is a query that we are executing, and then we are going to move this query to filter and see what it is the relationship of this query and what is happening inside of this query. Okay, we are going to see how we can make how we can explore what is happening with this query inside the database. We are going to choose this, and then we choose the visualize plan, and here we can see what are the tables that are impacted by this query, what is the limit of records, and how much resources does this query is consuming of the database. As you can see here, the cost right here, it is very low. It is 0% of the resources of the database. But we are going to learn how to use this tool. Then we are going to see how to check the consistency of the tables, okay, to see if there is no problems with the tables of the database, and how to make, in this case, there is no problems with this database. We are generating this report, and how to make a backup to prevent data loss. We are going to see how to make a diagnosis of the CPU and out-of-memory dumps. We are going to make the collect of this log file, and then we are going to use a flame graph. For example, this analysis that it comes with this article, and we will explore what is happening with the CPU with this type of graph, which is a flame graph. Okay. Okay. Next, we are going to see how to make a managing system and tenant database, like system and tenant database, and also how to create the tenant user permissions and the different roles for each tenant. Okay. So I hope that you enjoyed this course or this book, and this is the complete complete content or index that we are going to cover in this book.